What's up, blinders? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to do something a little different and we're going to be looking at Fable 4. Yes, it exists, it is happening, and we're most likely getting it in 2021. This is everything you need to know about Fable 4. So, Fable 4 exists. Yes, it is happening and it is actually being made. Now, for some people, they may have no idea what Fable is, and for others, they may be like me and be die-hard, massive fans of the Fable series, and that means 1, 2, and 3. We don't talk about that one. Apart from today, I'm going to be talking about it a little bit because it actually does connect, sadly, to the Fable series and will be affecting Fable 4. But yeah, it's been a bit dry for us Fable fans for quite a while, and if you've not been in the loop or in the know, there has been a lot of Fable news and a lot of Fable leaks over the past couple of years, especially last year in 2019, just before the E3 press conference, when a lot of people, including myself, thought we may actually see some Fable footage, and it's most likely we was supposed to, but instead they decided to delay it. Originally, Xbox were going to be at E3 this year and had a massive press conference planned, apparently. However, Coronavirus kind of fucked the whole world and has caused a lot of issues, but that does not mean we're not getting any announcements or any premieres. Actually, quite the opposite, we're getting plenty. In May, we actually had an Inside Xbox where they went through a bunch of third-party games that are coming to Xbox One Series X, and in July we're going to be getting all the first-party games that they have been working on for the new Xbox, and I believe that yes, includes Fable. I do not think it's going to be a Series X launch title, but first let me get into all the information that I have for you guys and fill you in and get you in on the know of what is going on with Fable 4. Now, if we go back to E3 2019, just before the E3 press conference for Xbox, I think it was a day or two before, we actually had a trailer for Fable get leaked, and it was a bunch of footage. It was like a leaked video, and nothing remains of that video. Is completely gone. All that remains was a Reddit post that went through everything that was in the trailer and stuff for us to expect. So at first we have first/third person gameplay. That means it's going to be very similar to something like Skyrim, where you can go from a third person to a first person perspective. Fable 3 did have a first person kind of mode. You couldn't fight in it, you couldn't actually walk around in it. It was just if you stood still and you press one of the buttons, you could go into this first person view. Next up, we have in-depth character creator. This is brand new for Fable. Like I said before, this is going to be a very different Fable, but this is obviously all welcome stuff. A character creator is something I've always wanted. You've always been able to change the appearance of your character throughout the Fable games, like hair, tattoos. You can make yourself more evil or look more like an angel, things angelic or more devilish, depending on what choices you make. I hope we still have a voice actor. I like having cutscenes. I like having story. Usually I do prefer when we have a set character, like in The Witcher, we have Geralt. Next up is completely open, which I'm guessing means the game's completely open. The other Fable games have been open world within sectors, similar to games like The Witcher and Dragon Age, where you'll load into a new area and the area will be very open but limited, and eventually you'll have to load into a new area to go to somewhere else. But it's going to be more like the Rockstar, Red Dead / GTA games, completely open, no loading screens, and that's again something new for Fable and something much needed. Going in and out of different loading screens is very frustrating in games. It ruins immersion and it's just boring. No guns is interesting. Fable has had guns since the second game, and the third game only had guns as your secondary. There was no bows, there was no crossbows, but having no guns is quite cool. That means they're going to bring back things like crossbows, I hope, and things like bow and arrows, making the game more fantasy focused, less industrial, which I think is very cool. We had the industrial, kind of revolution feel in Fable 3, and the world has completely ended. We'll get into that. So it's kind of restarting and going back to basics, and I like that. It keeps a more fantasy story based. Now, this is a really interesting part of the Reddit post. You can ignore main quests and never become a hero. This is really, really interesting. So you could just completely ignore the main quest and you'll never be a hero / bad hero, I guess, and save Albion, or I don't believe it's Albion anymore, the world that you're in. I guess it's going to probably be more similar to something like Skyrim, where if you just ignore the main storyline, you don't unlock all the cool abilities, you don't become Dragonborn, you can just choose to ignore it, which is what I used to do a lot when I used to replay Skyrim, because I don't like the Skyrim main storyline. So next up, this is mental. You can apparently build your own towns, and this heavily ties into the main story, and if you get the bad ending, so there's going to be different endings, which is quite cool, and we have seen that in previous Fables, it would affect your game heavily. Apparently if you get the bad ending and you fail, whatever that means, I'm guessing that if you fail to save the world. This is very different. Fable, being able to build a town, I don't know what that means, how in depth that'll be. Will you be able to completely create it? Will it go into like a build mode like Sims or something? I'm not sure. I don't really care too much for this feature, but it's definitely different and interesting. Is it going to tie into the game more like it does in Fallout, which was kind of cool, but at the same time I didn't love it, I didn't need it. Hopefully this doesn't take away from the main Fable experience, but it sounds interesting, it sounds cool, and I'm definitely up to see what exactly that means by create your own town. So up next is multiplayer. You have to have multiplayer in a Fable game. I completed Fable 2 with a friend. We played through the whole game together, and that was my first experience of Fable, was playing it with someone, even though Fable 2's multiplayer is god awful. And then the same with Fable 3. I played Fable 3 on my own, but at the same time would join my friends' games, help them out, they would help me out, and we experienced the game together. And that was a big part of Fable, was having this kind of hero connection, and it was cool. And I'm excited to see where they go with multiplayer. I hope I have a co-op sense where you can actually play properly together and not have your own separate worlds. I don't know, like if you do a quest with your friend, can you choose to have that affect your world as well, so you don't have to do it again? But if you want to do it again, you can. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that. And then finally, the Unreal Engine, which is very, very exciting, especially when we have just recently seen what the Unreal Engine can do. It is insane. The brand new Unreal Engine, so this game has been made on the old Unreal Engine. They can upgrade to this package. According to Epic Games, have said that everyone that's been using the previous Unreal can now move up to Unreal 5, and that game looks mental. So all of these things that they're talking about, all these possible unbelievable things, or taking with a pinch of salt, I can kind of buy a lot more knowing it's on Unreal, knowing that they have Unreal 5 to play with, and I'm happy to wait an extra year or two if needed for them to change things over. Apparently it's quite an easy process according to Epic Games, but it being on the Unreal Engine is incredible and very very interesting, and I do think it's something that can make the game, one, look incredible and look unreal, and two, allow them to create the story and give the amount of depth that they seem to want to for this new Fable game. And then last, we have a kind of description of what the new world of Fable is going to look like and going to be, and by the sounds of things, it's definitely been heavily influenced by what happened in Fable The Journey, when the entire world kind of got wrecked. So let's just go into this right now. Albion and Aurora are gone, lands reduced to fables. The Spire was rebuilt by a mad king and apparently used to wish an asteroid to come and destroy the planet. He also wished it would happen again in the far future. Eons later, and everything is new. A medieval theme and new continents. And you have to stop the destruction of the planet again, because I guess, the meteor's coming again, the Mad King and all that jazz. Teresa and the Heroes Guild are preserved on another planet via the Demon Door. Time travel is heavily involved in play, and Jack of Blades returns. So there is a lot to unpack here in this synopsis. First of all, time travel. That's different and new. And I guess they're going to be using Teresa and the Demon Doors and different things like that, plus other planets. Apparently there's another planet, using these Demon Doors you can travel to. Planet travel is part of the game and part of where you go, so the world is going to be made up of probably different planets. Hopefully that means that the worlds are substantially quite big. Maybe there's only 2 planets, we shall see. But of course, Albion's gone, Aurora is gone. We kind of knew this already, because in Fable The Journey, the world's ending, everything's getting destroyed, it's all getting blown up. And then when they made that kind of Fable game where you fight against a villain and it's like a multiplayer, whatever that game was that they were making, the world's like all in bits and destroyed and there's not much left. And I guess what basically happens is a Mad King comes along and blows everything up, and then continents reform over eons. That's a long... And the last massive thing is Jack of Blades returns. Jack of Blades was the villain from the original Fable game, and I guess, having time travel involved with Fable, I think we're going to be seeing some familiar faces. There is quite a few faces I would like to see throughout, show up. If we're going to have some time travel, it'd be cool to go back to, the realm of Fable 3, Fable 2. Out of everything throughout that leak, I think the biggest thing for me is the Unreal Engine, how crazy that is going to be for this new franchise and for Fable as a whole. Now you're probably wondering who exactly is developing Fable 4, because Lionhead, the original creators of this series, no longer exist. Well, the rumours and speculation for the past couple of years has been Playground Games, because we know they are working on an open world RPG and something new, a new IP for them at least. it has now been confirmed by Eurogamer. They have a inside source, supposedly, that says that Fable 4 exists, is happening, and it is Playground Games who are working on it. And they have created a brand new studio with around 200 people to go and work on Fable 4. Now, a lot of people may recognise the developers, Playground Games. They have actually worked on Forza Horizon series, which is very popular, and again, an open world game, which is good, and it looks very pretty. But you may be concerned thinking that they've got no experience with an open world action RPG. Now, don't be worried, because apparently, according to some job listings, they have actually hired some people from Kujami and from Rockstar North, both companies where, you know, these people that have worked on massive open world games and massive RPGs, and some, you know, it's going to be some interesting talent. They've got a big mixture of things, which is really cool for something new and something different for Fable. Now, I'm very happy that it is Playground Games as well working on it, because they are another UK-based developer, and that is very important for Fable, that it stays, you know, within the UK. It stays very British, because that is what the lore, what the humour and the charm of the Fable games was how British and how English everything was. And then all of this has been backed up by the Xbox API leaks, where they said that a UK developer were working on a Fable game with the codename Wisdom. This just backs up everything we know already. Then finally, Don Williams, an ex-engineer on the Fable franchise, tweeted, okay, having no inside information, I totally know who's building the new Fable 4 now. Interesting choice. So with all this information that I've gathered here today, it proves one thing and one thing only. Yes, Fable 4 exists. Yes, it is happening, and we basically do know who is creating it, Playground Games. Now, it's very likely that Playground Games are working on another IP and that all these sources are wrong or incorrect, but everything is pointing towards Fable. Now, the release date. Is Fable 4 going to be coming out this year? No, I do not think Fable 4 will be dropping with the Xbox Series X launch. I think that it's going to be part of the launch in the coming months. I most likely believe we're going to be seeing Fable 4 in 2021, around February to around May, possibly later because of
coronavirus.
And, you know, it kind of messed everything up and pushed everything back, and a bunch of games have been pushed, including Cyberpunk, and that was a game that was supposed to be coming out this year. And that is all the news I have for you about Fable 4. There are a couple other leaks out there. Some of them aren't very, you know, substantial, and some of them are a bit hearsay and not necessarily true, so I'm going to ignore them until we get more information. All the leaks and sources that I've put together for you guys today, I hope has painted a quite exciting and interesting picture for the future of Fable. You guys hyped? That's my job here, as I want to build some kind of hype train for Fable, because, you know, it's a franchise I love very dearly, and I'm very excited to see where they go with Fable and what Playground Games, a brand new studio, fresh minds. You know, we've got people from Rockstar, Kujami, and people that make Forza, which is, it's just such a strange combo. I'm excited to see what these guys can do with the Fable series and the franchise itself. I come back every week up until July. I'm going to be building up Fable hype. We're going to be playing the Fable games. I'm going to be talking about what I want to see from Fable, what I don't want to see from the new Fable. So if you want to see all of that stuff and get all the Fable 4 information, please subscribe. Or if you just want to see some dumb, you know, blind guy plays videos where I play games and I'm crap at them because, you know, I'm blind, then feel free to subscribe. And until next time, guys, stay safe, stay blind, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.